Let's talk about your brain for a second because honestly, it's a bit weird, like impressively weird. We tend to think we're logical, in control, and making smart choices all the time, but the truth is, our minds are full of quirks that quietly mess with us every single day. Take memory, for example. You'd like to think your brain works perhaps like a camera. Something happens, it gets stored, and you can replay it later. No. Your memory is more like a storyteller that changes the details, and each time it retells the story, something gets tweaked, perhaps on how you feel now, what you believe, or even what somebody else told you. This is why two people can swear they remember the same moment completely differently. Someone's wrong, or perhaps more accurately, both of them kind of are. Then there's this thing called confirmation bias, which is basically your brain being stubborn. Once you believe something, your mind goes, yeah, that's the truth, and starts to collect evidence to prove it, while ignoring anything that disagrees. It's like having a personal assistant who only brings you information that you already agree with. This is why debates can feel pointless. People aren't always listening to understand. They're listening to defend what they believe already. And your brain loves patterns. It's obsessed. And this comes from our survival instincts. Our ancestors had to quickly spot harm or danger. They could recognize the rustle in the bushes and go on high alert. But now, that same pattern-hunting brain sees meaning in randomness, perhaps lucky numbers, and sometimes our brain just connects things that were never meant to be connected. Let's talk multitasking for a second. You might feel you're a genius when you're texting, watching a video, and doing homework all at the same time. But your brain is not actually doing those things simultaneously. It's just switching between them really quickly. And every time it switches, it loses a bit of focus. So instead of being more efficient, you're usually just doing something slightly worse. Bit of a scam, really. Another funny one is the spotlight effect. This is when you think everybody is noticing you way more than they do. You trip in public and suddenly feel like the main character in a very embarrassing movie. In reality, most people either didn't notice or forget about it in about 10 seconds. Everyone else is too busy worrying about their own awkward moments to focus on yours. Now here's something slightly annoying. Your brain is terrible at staying happy. You might think, if I just get this thing, this job, this phone, this achievement, I'll be happy for ages. And sure, you'll feel great for a bit, but then your brain adapts. This is called hedonic adaptation, and it means your mind resets your happiness level pretty quickly. So that exciting new thing just becomes normal. And you start chasing the next one. It's like your brain is always moving the goalposts. Your decisions are also way easier to influence than you might think, and it often comes down to how something is worded. For example, if food is labelled 90% fat-free, it sounds great. But if it says 10% fat, suddenly it feels less appealing, even though it's the same thing. And your brain reacts to the framing, not just the facts. Sneaky, right? And here's a big one. Your brain is awful at predicting your future happiness. You might think something will totally ruin your week or make your life amazing, but most of the time, the emotional impact fades much faster than you might expect. That exam you stressed about, yeah, it mattered, but not forever. Your brain tends to exaggerate how dramatic things will feel later. There's also this illusion of control, where your brain likes to pretend you have more influence over things than you do. Have you ever pressed a button repeatedly in the hope it'll make it go faster, or felt like a certain routine somehow improves your luck? That's your brain trying to create order in a world that's often random. And one last quirky thing. Your brain hates missing information. If something is unclear or incomplete, it'll just fill in the gaps. That's why you can read a sentence with typos or missing letters and still understand it. Your mind is constantly guessing and patching things together. It's helpful, but it also means you can misunderstand things and not even notice. It cuts corners, it makes assumptions, and occasionally it just makes things up. But that's what makes it so fascinating. Once you start noticing these little quirks, you see them everywhere, and you get a much better sense of how your mind is quietly shaping your life every single day. See you next time.